In the city of Chang'an, a man spent several million coins to cure 2 small growths of flesh in the nose of his daughter. Nothing worked. The one who finally cured her was a begging monk who came to the door. He took not a single coin. All he asked to carry away were the 2 lumps of diseased flesh he had plucked out. Only later did people learn the truth. These 2 little things were being hunted by heaven itself. The tale is kept in Youyang Zazu, a book by the Tang writer Duan Chengshi, and it is a story best told from the beginning. In the Yongzhen era of the Tang Dynasty, in the east market of Chang'an, there lived a man named Wang Bu. He was a man of letters, with a fortune in the millions. And merchants from every road, north and south, counted it an honor to be guests in his hall. But beneath that fortune lay one aching worry. Now, Wang Bu had a daughter, 14 or 15 years of age, striking in beauty and quick of mind. But in each of her nostril there hung a small growth of flesh. They looked like 2 soap pod seeds, each on a root as thin as a strand of hemp, about an inch long. Left alone, they gave no trouble, but at the slightest touch, the pain would shoot along those thin roots straight into the heart. From the day this illness appeared, the household never knew another day of peace. The girl dared not touch her nose when she washed. Even a sneeze was like a round of torture. Such a family and such a daughter, suitors should have worn the doorstep down. But with this strange illness hanging over her, no one dared so much as mention marriage. Physicians were called in, wave after wave, herbal drafts, needles, everything that could be tried was tried. One bold healer once raised a blade. Before the edge even touched flesh, it merely grazed the root of the growth. And the girl fainted dead away from the pain. After that day, no one dared so much as say the word cut. Several million coins poured out of that house like running water, and the 2 growths hung in the nostrils of the daughter, exactly as before. Then one day, a begging monk appeared at the gate, a face from the western regions, in a robe worn to rags. The beggar opened his mouth, but he did not beg for food. He said,
I hear the young lady of this house suffers from a strange illness. Let me see her once. I can cure it.
Overjoyed, Wang Bu led the monk inside at once. At the bedside of the girl, the monk drew a medicine from inside his robe, a powder pure white, fine as frost. He held it to her nostrils and gave one gentle puff. No blade and no needle, only a thread of coolness seeping from the base of the nose up into the brow. He waited a moment, then reached out and plucked one touch, and the flesh came away. Both growths dropped whole from the root, like 2 ripe fruits picked off a branch. The cuts wept nothing but a trace of yellow water. The girl flinched, bracing herself, but that old pain, the pain that stabbed straight to the heart, never came. From beginning to end, it took less time than a bowl of tea. The illness that had defeated every famed physician in Thailand was gone. Beside himself with joy, Wang Bu brought out white gold in thanks, but the monk waved it away. He said,
I am a man of practice, and I take no rich gifts. I ask one thing only, the 2 growths that were plucked away. Grant them to me.
How could Wang Bu refuse? And so the monk took those 2 lumps of flesh that anyone else would loathe and laid them away inside his robe with reverence, like a man storing a rare treasure. Then he gave his thanks and went out the door. He walked away fast, almost flying. A few strides, and he was past the end of the street. Watching that figure go, Wang Bu felt nothing but gratitude, certain that he had met a wandering saint. The family gathered around the girl, laughing and weeping at once, and no one imagined that this was not the end. About the time the monk had passed 5 or 6 blocks, there came a knocking at the gate of the house of Wan. This time it was a youth, with a face as fair as carved jade, riding a white horse. First words out of his mouth were a question.
Just now, did a monk of the western regions come this way?
In haste, Wang Bu led him inside and told him the whole story, the cure and the monk who wanted nothing but the flesh. The youth heard him out, gave a long sigh, his face gone dark. Then he let fall a remark that made no sense at all.
This horse of mine went lame on the road. I rode as hard as I could, and still I came in behind that monk.
You cured her, and that is all. Why speak of it like a race?
He pressed the question carefully. The youth was silent a while, and then told the truth.
2 gods of medicine broke the law of heaven and fled down into the world below. They have been hiding in the nostrils of your daughter. The heavenly emperor traced them only days ago and sent me down to take them. I never thought that beggar monk would reach them 1 step ahead of me. And when I return, I answer for it.
As he said this, he did not sound like a man making threats. He sounded like a man truly in dread. Shaken and afraid, Wang Bu straightened his robe and bent low in reverence. When he raised his head again, the gate stood empty. The youth and the white horse were gone. And on the green flagstones outside the gate, not one hoof print had been left behind. For a long while, Wang Bu stood in the empty doorway, unable to move. Then, all at once, he understood. Why not 1 bowl of medicine in all those years had ever worked? Mortal medicine, how could it ever cure? The gods who govern medicine. There the story breaks off. The book gives nothing more. But set the details side by side, and this case runs 3 layers deeper. First, where did that monk come from? A beggar working the streets. How could he possibly be faster than the search decreed by heaven? Unless he never needed to search at all, where the 2 gods were hiding, he had known from the very start. This was never a healer curing the sick. It was an accomplice coming to collect. Second, the manner of hiding. Gods in trouble, slipping down among mortals. Nothing new to the people of Tang. In the immortal chapters of Taiping Guangji, banished immortals come down page after page. But every other tale writes of punishment served under orders. This one was flight from justice. A fugitive fears nothing more than a search, but who would ever search for outlaws inside a strange disease? Sickness makes the perfect disguise. Modern medicine speaks of implantable devices, tiny creations set inside a living body where no eye can find them. The fugitives of heaven, it seems, understood this long ago. Third, the choice of place of the whole human body. They chose the nostril, and that place was not chosen at random. Modern neuroscience has a concept called the blood-brain barrier. The brain seals itself off tight, and most things from outside can never get in. Except that deep in the nasal passage, there runs one neural shortcut, straight into the brain. Even today, when medicine wants to send a drug into the brain, one path under serious study starts from the nose. The 2 thread-thin roots of the medicine gods were joined to exactly this neural trunk line. And that one connection gave the hiding place a built-in defense. Reach in to pluck them, and what you touch is not two lumps of dead flesh. It is the living nerve of the girl. The pain drives straight to the marrow. She faints dead away on the spot. No blade can ever come down. That was not the pain of sickness. It was an alarm. And the key to that alarm lay only in the hands of their own people. First, the monk blew the white powder into the nose, and the thread was unbound. Then he reached in. The flesh came away at the root, without one flicker of pain. The books of this world set it down as a medical case. Strange illness, gifted healer, a cure in a single stroke. But if heaven keeps files too, that page holds a different case altogether. Two wanted gods who broke the law of heaven. One hiding place no one would ever think to search. One officer of heaven, half a step too late, and one accomplice who made the pickup clean and vanished without a trace. From the Youyang era to this day, 1,200 years have passed in the world of men. But the ancients had an old saying, one day in heaven, 1 year among men. Reckon it that way, and in heaven, this case is barely 3 years old. The officer may have only just finished serving out his sentence, and the warrant for the two medicine gods could well be still fresh.